I'm the responsible
Okay.
one. I'm the responsible one. I forgot to hit the record button, so we got to start all over again. So, Jenny,
Okay.
you ready to get up in here and do this?
Ready.
4, 3, 2, 1.
You'll never have the sacred stone.
Oh, this you crazy mother.
If you have any poo, fling it now.
All right, ladies and gentlemen, freaks and geeks, nerds and nerdettes, and all the lovely soup nuts. I'm sober. I promise you I'm sober. I ain't took a hit of nothing right now. But want to thank y'all for coming back in because you're doing something right. It's not about what we're doing. It's about what you want to tune in and about what's going on in the fucking world of the soup sandwich. And they're like, now you're a part of it. You are one of the soup nuts that gets to hang out with us weekly and enjoy what we do. And eventually we're going to find a way to get y'all on here with us. But
Yes.
we've been talking over the past week about topics and everything like that. And we have something set up for today, but we can't get our guests on because of time scheduling and things like that. So we always got a backup plan. So I presented Jenny with 3 topics and she's like, let's go with that one. So today we're going to talk about generational gaps. And I've been talking about this all the time because they say the subject is close to my heart, if you will, my heart, my mind, my spirit, the whole 9 yards. And, you know, people talk about the Gen Ys, the Gen X, the Gen Zs, the millennials, the whatever names they come up with and all these things. And I'm like, I get all that. I really do. But there is something that's going on when I hear about Gen Z versus boomers. And I keep thinking, boomers. And I'm like, I hope they don't think I'm a fucking boomer just because I'm old. I'm an X, and I'm an original outcast. You know, I'm an original fucking rebel. You know what I'm saying? And Jenny is also, because she used to sneak out of her house. Well, she would leave her house to go sneak and listen to music and shit like that. So she's a rebel. She's an outcast.
That's me.
You know,
I am.
But there's a lot of young folks out there nowadays, and I hope y'all tuning in. But if not, I know we got to find somebody to talk to, and y'all got to find somebody to listen to. So it works out simpatico, if you will.
Yes.
We're symbiotic. So Jenny, before I run this video real quick, what are your thoughts on actually being in this day and age, you know, a Gen Xer and how we look at life?
I just think we fucking rule. That's just how I see it as. Like, we grew up, our generation was MTV. Like, you know, we had rap just came out. It was just totally different. Like the neon shit, heavy metal, headbangers were real popular. You know what I mean? Like, it was just, I don't know, a good time. And my son, who's 22 years old now, he listens to what I used to listen to whenever, you know, he listens to Gen X music. And I don't know if it's because he was grown up around it but he loves it. And that's what he listens to more than his generation music. Explain that.
I had a thing, like, for some reason, there was like a 7-year period where music just sucked. And this was my personal opinion. It's like, I mean, it didn't have no soul to it. It had no message, had no meaning and everything. Yeah, there was, you know, it had sound and it had rhythm and all that, but it was something missing. So I tuned out on a lot of the newer music, whatever. But for some reason in like 2003, 2004, it started coming back. And I'm not talking about like regular popular music. I'm talking about heavy metal because, I grew up. Now, I grew up listening to heavy metal, hip hop, R&B. I mean, all those things at the same time. Never got into country. I listened to a lot of skater music, rap, metal. Yeah, but I never did the country thing because it was too sad. I don't know what it was. They said that my music was too angry. I'm like, y'all music was too sad. I'm like, I don't know. But so I never got it. No, my brother and cousin were big into country music, but so I never got into it. So I didn't. But for some reason, I listen to our music, Gen X music nowadays, and I'm like, hey, there's something that was off a little bit because they were just repeating the same thing over and over again. But every now and then you hear songs that they sense that it touched you in a special spot, and not just where your camp counselor, your priest touch you, you know. but a special spot.
Yeah.
But I said for 7 years, I was like, okay, so I gave up on listening to music. I would, buy CDs, and that's when MP3 started first coming out. So I started downloading old music and everything.
Napster.
Down with Napster. Motherfucker, you're crazy. Yeah. when Napster came around, dude, I was like, that was a blessing. But but it's just funny that now music nowadays, it's so universal and it's so crossed over that people really don't recognize it as being a genre, if you will.
Right.
Because people are combining, country with metal, rap with hip or rap with country. I mean, rap and metal. I mean, well, rap and metal has always been mixing together. But I'm saying there's like popular music. Okay, like I'm not a fan of Bruno Mars, but I do like that song Uptown Funk. But Uptown Funk, I think it's fucking awesome. I think it's a great song because it just got a beat to it, and I'm like, that's just some good shit right there.
Yeah, it's got.
But I listen to a lot of obscure. I listen to a lot of obscure shit that people really don't listen to. There's one band called Chaosium, not popular, but I listen to a lot of like non-point underground shit that really don't make radio. In the same way when I was younger. If it wasn't on the radio, I didn't listen to it because we bought tapes and we had albums. We didn't listen to radio music because they weren't playing our music, But thankfully for MTV, they did Headbangers Ball, so that was awesome.
Oh, I loved Headbangers Ball.
So we had 6 hours a night.
Yes.
Yeah. I mean that was our thing.
11 o'clock at night or midnight. I forgot what it was. Midnight. Was it midnight? Yeah, midnight.
Midnight metal.
That's right.
So you would take your tape recorder, put it up to the TV, record metal songs and shit.
Yes.
Because I know my wife says she's taking the tape recorder and record off the radio. I'm like, but the radio never played our music, so we never listened to the radio. Radio was never our fan, whatever. We didn't listen to popular music. Now they would every now and then throw on some Bon Jovi or some Poison, whatever, but it had to be a clean song. Right. But now they put out albums out there that were underground, and you only can hear the music on if you bought the cassettes or the albums. Mm-hmm. But like bands like Slayer, Metallica, Ozzy, you don't hear that shit on the fucking radio. Run DMC, Cool Mo D, Dougie Fresh, and the Furious Five, the Fat Boys. It wasn't on the radio because it wasn't popular music. It was always something. Right. Tiffany, Debbie Gibson, popular bands like that. You had to have popular songs to be playing on the radio, so we never tuned into the radio. But as far as like the generation goes, it's like I see a lot of people, like you said, nowadays listening to older music, and I'm like appreciate it. And I'm like, that's fucking awesome. That's fucking awesome.
Yes,
I appreciate the way things make me feel. So if I find something that's new nowadays that people put out there, I'm like, that's pretty cool. I enjoy those things. So let me ask you this. TV from the 80s versus TV from now, as far as sitcoms goes. What do you think the issue is or situation is?
Okay. What about all right, Three's Company ran into the 80s, right? The early 80s. Two girls living with a guy. That was unheard of in those days,
controversial.
Yes. So it's like, okay, he's banging both of them, even though they weren't, even though he was trying, just teasing, whatever. But
there's always innuendo.
Different strokes.
That was always a fun game.
Different strokes.
Great show. Family Ties.
Family Ties.
Growing Pains.
MASH.
ER.
MASH was on too.
MASH was more or less the 70s, but they carried over to the MASH. I think was just a great show regardless.
You're
but like ER was like
you're forgetting like the most funnest part of the 80s. Fucking Saturday morning cartoons.
Oh yeah, I know. I don't forget those things because
they don't have
there
them
are shows
anymore.
that I used to watch. No, there are shows I used to watch that people never even heard of. Now they knew mainstream Bugs Bunny. They knew Tex Ritter. They knew the Flintstones. They knew Warner Brothers. They knew Hanna-Barbera. They knew Jetsons. They knew all that shit. But there was a show called Jason the Wheeled Warriors that no one remembers. I watched that shit. They're like, yeah, see, that's my point. Former, I also like the Gargoyles, But
Yes.
Get Along Gang,
Get Along
Heathcliff,
Gang.
Garfield the cartoon, right?
Yep.
The Gummy Bears, that was some good shit back then. But
The
yeah,
G.I.
there are no
Joe
more Saturday morning
cartoon.
cartoons.
Fat Albert.
Yeah. So there are no more Saturday morning cartoons. Saturday morning is no longer about, because everybody started going streaming instead of watching actual TV. But I've been watching some shows nowadays. And I'm like, oh, I see what y'all doing. Y'all trying to display a message to some people, but you're trying to reach out to people that are not watching. Because
Right.
if you think about the Generation X versus the Generation millennials themselves, millennials really don't watch TV; they stream. All right, so
Yeah,
they're not
you're
actually
right.
watching network television. So network television is putting out these programs and trying to create a message to and garner, the idea of trying to be update or hip, whatever. And she'd be
Right.
what's the word I heard over the weekend? Relative. But the people you're trying to reach out to are not actually watching you. So you're actually pissing people off that actually watch you. And I'm like, that to me, that don't make no sense. But then again, that's on them. But I go back and watch a lot of the old shows because they'll put like Family Ties or Growing Pains on these apps, and I watch them. I've been watching Charlie's Angels. I've been watching 21 Jump Street. And I used to think that was some cool shit back in the day. 21 Jump Street got boring. Yeah. But 21 Jump Street actually got boring after like season 2. And I'm like, I don't remember it being boring, but I'm like, what the fuck? Fast forward. Okay, here's the setup. Here's the plot. Let's see how it ends.
Yeah.
So I skipped through like a whole episode just to see how it ends. But yeah, a lot of that shit back then, I mean, it seems so cool. 18, I can watch this shit over and over again.
Miami Vice. Did you watch Miami Vice?
Are you fucking dude? I'm from Florida. Of course you watch Miami Vice. That was like religion back then. What you gonna watch tonight? Miami Vice. Yeah. I enjoyed
Did you wear
my
a white blazer? Did you
No,
Don Johnson it?
No, I couldn't pull the Don Johnson off because I was a big guy. All right. I couldn't even pull off the tubs. I couldn't pull none of that shit off. I could pull off Elvis. That's about it. You remember who Elvis was, right?
Elvis on that show? On Miami Vice? No.
Yeah,
wait,
the alligator.
I don't. Oh,
the alligator.
My God.
The pet alligator from the University of Florida. And now, that was funny. The very first episode when they said, yeah, he was a mascot because the frat guys gave him a bunch of LSD and shit. So he took the gator on as a pet, but he's from the University of Florida and he called him Elvis. And I was like,
oh my God.
that's a pet right there. That's a pet right there.
I forgot about that.
I couldn't pull off the neon shirts with the white blazer. I couldn't pull off the, loafers and shit. I never could understand how they ran into loafers. But that's on them to figure out. But yeah, I mean, that was a hot ticket. But nowadays, I mean, network people really don't watch TV anymore. They stream. But so they got these apps, Hulu, Netflix, Peacock, Tubi, where you can actually watch current shows. I'm watching some current shows and I'm like, I like the humor, but the message you're getting mixed up because you're reaching out to the wrong people. People you're reaching out to are not watching you. And that doesn't make any sense. But each to their own, But let me run this video real quick and let's see.
Differences between generations X, Y, and Z. Which one are you? Since you're on the internet right now, and assuming it's not your first time, you've probably already noticed that this space is pretty much dominated by a younger crowd. You've likely heard them referred to as millennials, or is it Gen Z? And how are they different from generations X and Y? What's with all the labels anyway? And how can you make heads or tails of which one you belong to and what defines your generation? Well, according to sociologist Carl Mannheim, it all comes down to generational location, meaning that all members of a generation share a similar collective experience. We'll get into what those might be for your generation. Now, where were we? Ah, yes. People are categorized into generations depending on when they were born. For today's video, we're going to focus on people born in the US. As of now, there are 5 living generations. The traditionalists, also known as the silent generation, who were born before 1945. Then there's the baby boomers, born between 1946 and 1964. Anyone born between 1965 and 1979 are considered Generation X, while millennials, or Generation Y, were born between 1980 and 1995. Finally, there's Gen Z, or Centennials, who were born from 1996 to the present. These ranges are just approximations, of course. You can be born within 3 years of the beginning or end of a generation and still belong to it. What's more important is the collective experiences people born within these years share. Traditionalists gave birth to the baby boomers, who were, of course, part of the huge birth rate increase following the Second World War. There's some disagreement as to when exactly the boomers end and Gen X begins. A lot of people born from 1961 to 1964 don't identify as boomers and don't have any emotional connection to the collective experiences that shaped them. This has prompted some researchers to classify Generation X as those born from 1961 to 1981. Gen X got to experience the aftermath of all the changes the boomers made. With both parents now entering the workforce, Gen X kids had less adult supervision than previous generations, which caused them to be more peer-oriented. Millennials. They've been the topic of much debate, even over when their generation starts and ends. Some demographers have decided that millennials were born as early as 1977, while others extend their cutoff to as late as 1999. Gen Z includes everyone born in the 21st century. They can be the children of either Gen X or millennial parents, and this difference can affect their relationship with the technology they've grown up with. Centennials were born into an environment where digital devices were widespread and readily available, so they have a very different relationship with it than previous generations. In fact, 40% of Centennials surveyed said that a reliable Wi-Fi connection is more important to them than reliable bathrooms. But when it comes down to it, generational lines are just as arbitrary as borders on a map. They don't really matter. They're just stuff we made up to help define ourselves better. But really, you can define yourself and your generation however you want.
But I'm gonna give you all the idea of when they talk about the years, the generations themselves, because you got the silent generation, which is anybody born between 1928 and 1945, will put you about 78 to 95 years old right now. Then you had the baby boomers that were born between 1946 and 1964, puts you at about 59, 70 years old right now. Then the Gen X, born between 1965 and 1980, puts you at between 43 and 58. The millennials were born between 1981 and 1996, puts you around 27 to 42 years old. Then the Gen Z was born between 1997 to 2012, puts between 11 to 26 year old. Then now we got the alphas, which we're currently going on right now, 2010, 2025, and they're about 10 years old. That's where we're at on that. Now, when I did watch a video, and it's funny, they mentioned that there was a gap between the silent generation, the baby boomers, and Gen X, and it's like a 5-year window. It was like 1961 to 1964 or some shit like that. It was like it was okay because you got the silent generation, the baby boomers, and Gen X, right? There was actually a section of folks between the baby boomers and Gen X that didn't agree with the baby boomers. They didn't want to be locked in with the baby boomers. And so they pretty much made their own little thing. I guess that was what they considered the counterculture, if anything. So that, I mean, technically that would be TUVWXY. Yeah, so Generation W that no one ever talks about because it's like it was a
weirdos.
No, because those are the people that actually put shit into motion for a lot of different folks. Now these weirdos, you say weirdos, those are our suit nuts. Those are our freaks and geeks. Those are that's what. Like I think I was born in the wrong generation because of where my mindset was, where my heart and spirit was. So yeah, these weirdos, those are my weirdos. I claim them.
That's
but you. I think these people here, because baby boomers more or less were geared towards trying to get out and start working. Building a life for themselves. The man, woman. Two kids, half a dog, or whatever it was called, picket fences, that whole lifestyle and everything. And they follow the rules, they follow society. They, pretty much were, I'm not saying sheeple, but they definitely followed a lot of different aspects of I got to do the right thing to be a better person. because that came from their parents.
Right.
And
Yep.
now, but that little group, that Group W, and Group W is funny because that's part of a song from Alice's Restaurant.
Rebels. They're rebels, you guys.
I don't know about rebels. I think they were more they tune in and drop out, turn off, turn on, tune out, drop.
Okay.
They're dropout crowd, if you will.
Okay.
Not so much the rebels, but they're like, I don't want nothing to do with you motherfuckers. I want to go do our own thing. So I think that little gap there, the Group W's, was a special group that don't get really talked about a lot.
Mm-hmm.
But the Gen X, though, we were rebels because we had no fucking parental guidance.
No.
Basically, because mom and dad went to work or a single family home or whatever you want to call it, wherever you came from, parents were always at work. So you had your house and you had your friends. That was your whole world. Your friends became family. Yeah, what I'll say, but that's the whole thing. Nowadays, but see, now we had to go outside to be with our friends.
Yeah.
Or go to a setting where we had to be around people to collaborate and share stories and talk stuff, whatever and stuff. But the millennials and the Z's, everything's online, so all their friends are gathered online. And I'm like, okay, I get that idea. I really get that idea. But I'm telling you, there's something magical about sitting around a bonfire or sitting around someone's kitchen and playing cards and drinking a beer and just talking shit, or being in a circle of people just having fun until the fight breaks out. Somebody said the wrong thing about the wrong woman's ass or whatever and shit, or you say somebody's mama, somebody get fucked up. That's all it is to it. So I see the idea of the technology bringing us closer together, but disconnected us at the same time. What do you think?
Well, before I wanted to interrupt, but you didn't shut the fuck up. So
I got that problem. Go ahead.
So what I was trying to say was, my parents worked. My mom was home with us until I don't know, I guess till my little brother was like 5. But my grandmother lived with us. So there was always a parental supervision around. So we couldn't get away with shit that my friends could get away with because they were free to roam after they got home from school. You know what I mean? So I did have that parental guidance there. My grandmother was a son of a bitch. When we didn't listen, she'd like hit us with the spaghetti fork, the metal spaghetti fork and shit. Like, she meant business. So we didn't like just go off the wall or whatever and just do whatever we wanted to. Did we sneak? Yes. You know what I'm saying? Like, did we play outside with our friends when my grandmother was home? Did she let us go out and do that? Absolutely. Did we do shit we weren't supposed to? Yeah, because there was no parents around then. But we couldn't hang out at my house because my grandmother was just a nag. Like, she wouldn't leave us alone. What's the matter? You lagging?
I know. I heard a weird noise, and I'm like, the fuck? So I don't know if it's my dog dreaming or if it's somebody walking around. I was like, it just sounded odd. So I'm just like, because on this side of the screen is actually where my front door is. So I'm like, I want to see what the hell was going on. I was like, hey, do I got to fuck somebody up? I was like, do I got to run? I don't know.
What do I got to run?
I'm old now. There's a difference.
Oh.
Big difference between flight and fight. No, fuck that. I'm out.
Yeah.
Fuck that, I'm out. Because I got my front door open when I got a screen door, and my back door is open. So if I got to haul ass, I'm going that way because that's my backyard, and I got tools out there to protect myself.
Now you have tools.
I got a shovel. I got rakes. I got shit out there I can fuck a motherfucker up with. In here, I got a microphone and a cell phone. What the fuck am I gonna do with that? How am I gonna defend myself with a microphone and a cell phone? Oh, I can shake my fist and be like, no, you can't come in here. You might offend me. No, fuck that. I'm going out there. I'm gonna get some shit to protect myself. Motherfucker, listen here.
You always 2 steps ahead.
No, well, I'm old again. I'm old, so I'm like 5 steps behind. Because first I gotta get up, to back, then I gotta make it out the door, and I'm like, then I gotta go find the tool that's all the way across the yard and shit. So it's like, fuck. Then the dog gonna try to follow me, try to knock me over. So I probably better off sitting here getting my ass just.
You had it all planned out in your head, the whole scene, in seconds.
That's just the way. That's just the way the world works, man. I'm just talking about you. But yeah, Jeannie's correct about that. We had a situation set up one time to where if I talked too much, she would say shh, and I would just shut the fuck up. So she forgot the hand signal.
No, wait, no, you didn't want a hand signal. You wanted me to say shut the fuck up.
Oh yeah, you can say shit, zip it, zip, shush. Because my brain, my mouth works faster than my brain sometimes. So my mouth be going boop, 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 boop. My brain name just.
What goes on in that head?
Oh, they all want to know. They all want to know.
I think I
had one.
If I was in your head, I would be like, whoa. Huh? Too much shit going on.
I had a thought the other day about that very situation. I have at least 3 critters in my head that we have a tea party. Now, when I say critter, I'm talking about either an entity, a spirit, demon, angel, whatever. There's 3 other people in here besides me.
Mm-hmm.
All right. And there's one guy in here who has his own imaginary friend. Imaginary friend don't like me at all. So we got all kind of conflict going up in here. But I was like, damn it. And there was something going on this weekend. And I was like, and I said something about, do I need actual more outside voices inside here? I was like, no, I do not, because there's too many motherfuckers running around right now as it is. So back to where he was. Now, you said you had your grandmother and your mother at home. Now, we're talking about a 15-year-old kid. At 15 years old, were you actually in the house all the time, or were you actually running the streets?
I wasn't running the streets. At 15, I was out hanging. I had a boyfriend. So he drove, he'd pick me up and I'd go out, but I had a curfew.
What? Hold on. For everybody out there that's listening right now, explain to everybody what a curfew is. And they had tried to curfew shit on me, but explain to the folks what a curfew was supposed to be.
It was, you be home when the street lights come on, you come home. That's what the curfew was, or a set time. So during the week, you had to be home by 9, and the weekends it was 10. But my brothers were allowed to stay out till 11 or 12. I had to be home by 10. It's like, because I was a girl.
Now, when I say running the streets, what I mean is you actually leave your house and go do things.
Yeah.
So now, Jenny come up with this great idea about doing a game show with the Urban Dictionary. So I can see where that's going to play out right now. Because when I say running the streets, I just mean leaving your house and going doing things. So I'm trying to speak more eloquent, if you will, because I understand that when people talk about generations or the Gen X people or even the millennials or the Gen Zs, whatever, I also believe that has to do with location. For some reason, the Southern demographic and the Northern demographic and the Western demographic, their generational growing upbringings was a lot different.
Yeah, I agree.
I've heard the term latchkey kid, people get the keys to go home and everything like that. But it seems like there'd be a lot of that going on in the northern areas more than it was in the South. Mm-hmm. Because we either use a butter knife to open up the door or crawl through a window. Now, it was our window, so it wasn't really breaking and entering, but, there was a key, neighbor had the key. You had to go get the key from neighbor. So, yeah. But I remember hearing a lot of those stories. But so you did leave the house and you had to be back at a certain time. Is that what you're trying to tell me?
Yes. Oh, I got my ass kicked at 15. Okay. Yeah. Up until I was 18.
So the time frame was when the street lights came on.
Yeah.
All right. See, now my smart ass 15-year-old would have been like, okay, Mom, it's 5 a.m. The street lights are still on, so fuck you. I'm home in time.
I could see that.
Yeah, I would go out, 15 years old, I would go out, leave school, go home, drop my shit off. Uh-huh. Now, I ain't got to change clothes because I sleep in the same clothes I go to school with. I just change T-shirts and, every now and then throw a shower in there. But I'm wearing jeans and a metal T-shirt, so it was pretty much wardrobe standard.
Yep.
So I get home from school, drop my shit off, and I'm out the door because my mom's at work, my dad's at work. Now, they're going to be home within a couple hours, but I'm not because I'm out with my friends and we're now getting into the bullshit. We getting into trouble, or even if we were doing something boring and we were getting into trouble, that was just, they had to be the way it was.
Mm-hmm.
So now they tried you need to be home by curfew. And I'm like, what do you mean by curfew? At least by 9 o'clock. And I'm like, all right, that sounds fair to me. Well, I can't make it 9 o'clock. It ends up being like 1 o'clock in the morning.
Oh,
and
shit.
I get my ass in trouble. Now, my parents didn't do corporal punishment. They tried to punish me by putting me in my bedroom, which I had.
That was fun.
Well, which I had my radio, I had my record player, and I had my little fucking Nintendo, and that's where I kept my drug stash at. So you're not really punishing me because I'm in my room. Now my mom was brilliant because I had a TV in there and I had like the old Nintendo and shit, or all, whatever and shit. And she was like coming to unplug it from the wall. I'm like, yeah, all right. She turned around, I plug it back up, turn the volume down so she can't know what's going on. But she hears click, 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 click. So she come in there, she goes, all right, smart ass, pulls the cord out and cuts it. What you gonna do now? Yeah, you got me. You got me.
Yeah. Moms didn't fuck around then.
Did you ever climb out the window to escape prison?
I've climbed out the window before, yeah.
Now, was it now? Because what I'm saying is like they tried to do the punishment thing by sending me to my room, but I open the window, out the window I'll go. I always go ahead. I'm sorry.
I climbed out of a window because I was sneaking out of a guy's house. And he didn't want his parents to know I was there. I couldn't go through the front door, or his mother woke up. So he was like, you got to go out the window. And I was like, now? Can I hide under the bed? Like, do something? No, I had to jump out the fucking window. Then I had to park my car, like, down the block away from the house because I couldn't, he couldn't have any girls
Wow.
over. Yeah.
Wow. I'm going to share y'all a little dirty secret story because I had the exact opposite upbringing. We were allowed to have friends over, girls, guys, whatever. On weekends, people can spend the night, maybe 2 at a time, no more than that. But I'd have my girlfriend over all the time. All right. Well, with one girl I was dating. And we was in the bedroom one afternoon getting it on. And my dad was home. He's in the living room watching TV, drinking the beer, whatever and shit. So I'm in the bedroom. Well, we're in the bedroom and we're going at it. I got her doggy style. And of course you hear, the ball slapping on the ass and the whole 9 yards. Right. So we get done and everything. And I'm like, I'm going to go get a cigarette from my dad. And I opened the door and I went down the hallway and he went clapping. And I'm like, what you clapping for? He goes, I ain't clapping. That's the sound that makes when your balls hit the ass, son. I can hear it down the mother hallway.
Oh my God.
I was like, wow. So I felt proud, but my girlfriend was embarrassed.
Oh, I'd be embarrassed. I would be so embarrassed. See, I didn't pull that shit in my house because I wasn't playing with my parents. So I didn't did my boyfriends come in my room and stuff? Yeah, but we hung out, we listened to music, we talked. We didn't fool around because I was not in my house. No.
Oh, wow.
Because my mother had eyes in the back of her fucking head. And she knew it. I didn't even have to say anything. I could think something and she knew what the fuck I was thinking and punished me. And I'm like, but I didn't even say it. You were thinking it. Yeah, my mom was fucking left hand central. You say something right there. And clip you right in the mouth. Yeah.
Hey, good aim. Yeah.
So I did it at my friend's house. I'd be like, that's what you get. You're going to be strict like that. I'm going to rebel. So I'd be like, oh, I'm going over to my friend, Tracy's house or whatever. And we're going to sleep over. Meanwhile, I did go to Tracy's and sleep over. But we went out with our boyfriends that my mother didn't know that I had one and go to the movies, And, Tracy's mother was cool with it because she respected the guy and respected the whole thing about it, But my mother was just, no fucking way, I'll kill you. You ever come home with somebody like this, I'll kill you. You ever bring this home, I'll kill you. So I dated a Spanish guy. I had to hide him because I would have had my ass kicked if I brought him home. So I rebelled. I was a rebel. Gen X rebel. That was me.
See, we rebelled against society more than our parents because we only rule my mom really had was don't fuck up the house.
Right.
Don't take shit from the house. Don't let your friends fuck up the house. Don't let your friends steal from us. Just don't do anything stupid in the house. You're gonna do something fucked up, do it outside of the house.
Right.
Now, depending on the girl that I dated, my mom her favorite thing was always, I don't like that bitch. Something wrong with that bitch. I'm like, Mom, how can you say that? You really don't know her. Oh, I know her. I know bitches like that. Now, my mom was a soft-spoken woman, very compassionate, had a great heart. Very nurturing. But when she spoke, about certain things. It was just,
Mhm.
I'm like, this ain't my mom. Who the fuck is this person? But she's like, I don't like that bitch. There's something wrong with that bitch.
Yeah.
Now my dad be like, hey, as long as you're getting some fucking, it don't matter.
See?
And my daddy gave me one rule. See, now my daddy gave me one rule in life. He goes, boy, I'm gonna tell you one thing in this fucking world. Pussy only got one color, and that's pink. If some girl gonna get some pussy, take it. I don't give a fuck what she look like.
See? Yeah, he's not racist. That's,
Well, my stepdad, my dad himself, the guy that raised me since I was 7 years old, was a black dude. Now, my mom's side of the family, they were straight on fucking ignorant pieces of fucking white trash, shit bags and shit, whatever you want to call them. So that's why we never got along. But my dad's side of the family, now his has two brothers, Snake and Earl. Snake was a Marine, and he was like the gung-ho Marine where he sit around with the glass, with the ice and the bourbon and shit. Like, you need to be strict and proper and all that shit. Earl was a teacher, and he did phenomenal history, shit like that, good shit like that. Now, they had a cousin named Pee Wee. Pee Wee was a hippie. Pee Wee was a straight fucking hippie, and he always come around, hey, boy, where the cookies at? Come on, you fat bastard. I know you got some motherfucking cookies hidden somewhere. I need some motherfucking cookies. Because he'd always be stoned and drunk and shit, but he was fun. Cool. He was fun to be around. So I never really had the restrictions like everybody else had until I fucked up. But when I fucked up, I got put in my room. Then if I didn't like to be in my room, I'd crawl out the window. Because I always had the belief that I'm going to get my ass whooped. I'll make it worth it. But I never got my ass whooped though. It was always I'm disappointed in you. You're breaking my heart. And I'm like, well, I don't mean to, but I'm going to go have fun. I didn't really know what that shit meant until I got older. When I got about 18, I'm like, oh, I get it now. Fuck, I got to slow down what I'm fucking doing. All right. So let me ask you this then before we get out of here. We got the people nowadays they consider the Gen Zs and the Alphas, or we're not Alphas any talk about the Gen Zs and millennials are so much close in how they live life in society. How do you think they would actually be if they actually were raised in our time frame?
They wouldn't survive.
Would it make them different people though?
They'd be psychotic because they can't live without social media. Like, you know what I mean? They would be fucked up in the head, maybe a little, psychotic, have some mental issues, or a few fries short of a Happy Meal, screws loose, because
I'm right here. That's me.
They can't even, you ask them to do something now. They can't even, I have a headache, my ass hurts, my dick has a sore on it, whatever. They can't get up and do shit. They're lazy, So we hustled, we worked, we got out of jobs young,
I'm curious though. Let me ask you this question, because I came up with a theory a couple years ago, and I ran it by a lot of different people. All right. At the time, our generation was about, say, 20. Gen X was about 20. All right. We started having kids, either by accident or on purpose. All right. So could it be that we raised our kids to be badasses and somehow they got twisted around? Or what do you think happened?
Well, I raised my kids because when I was younger, I guess, I don't know, my dad wasn't as strict as my mom was. My mom was real strict. But I always used to say, I will never do this to my kids. I'm never going to have this happen to my kids. So I was one of the parents, which I know a lot of other people are guilty, that I was a pushover and I let them get away with a lot of shit that they shouldn't have. And that's when I stopped and respected my mother for doing what she did back then. But I was being rebellious and didn't understand why. That's when I understood it, when I had my own kids. You know what I mean? But it's like, I'm not going to yell at you. I never hit my kids. I really didn't yell at them and curse at them and stuff like that because, well, okay. Remember when your parents, I don't know if you ever did this, but you would threaten your parents if you did something bad and they yelled at you, and you'd be like, I'm going to call CPS on you. Give me
we didn't do that shit.
Give me the phone. I'll fucking call them for you, is what my parents would have said.
Right.
Nowadays, you hit them, you curse at them, you say anything that offends them, CPS is called. So you know what I mean? So like you can't like reprimand them the way that we got reprimanded, you know what I mean? So they would never survive our time. That's what I'm gonna say. And you know, this is what I wanted to ask you before, but it just slipped my mind. It just popped into my head.
Go ahead.
Now, my husband, you said Gen X was what ages? Or what years? What time frame?
1964 to 1981. Let's put it that way.
Oh, okay. I thought you said 88. Okay.
Oh, no.
Okay, here's a big issue I have that I could kind of like compare shit to with two different generations is I am 10 years older than my husband.
All right.
And the generation gap, sometimes it gets to me because he gets things or he likes things different than I like things. He hates my music. He doesn't listen to it. I like, you know.
Very good, interesting point.
Go ahead. No, go ahead. But that's what I wanted to talk about.
That's why I brought up the theory thing, because that's what I came up with a couple of years ago. Because when people our age was around 20, we were having kids and raising them the way we trying to raise them the best we can.
Yeah.
Without being the same assholes that our parents raised us. You know.
Right.
But what if the boomers themselves were still having kids the same time Gen X was? My theory is there actually is a separate group of millennials out there.
Mm-hmm.
Not all millennials are in the same group. I think there are generation millennials and there's boomer millennials that somehow, and those are fighting each other right now.
Right.
I'm seeing, because I've seen a lot of these millennials that, you know, people thought they call them lazy. And
yes.
I know, but here's my thing though. I think there's a group of them that are like that, and another group that are actually trying to hustle out there and be the best they can.
Right.
Because I think for some reason that the boomers actually were having kids the same time we were and raising a different crop, if you will, a different crop, if you will. So we were raising badasses and rebels and still trying to be best you can, but they were trying to raise them to be mainstream and follow the rules and do the right thing and all that shit. And you are going to get what you deserve because you deserve everything. You know what I'm talking about? You know what I'm talking about?
Yeah.
People who deserve everything. You know what I'm talking about? So I actually think there is two groups of millennials out there, but for some reason, the ones that are not being talked about or heard of is they're out there doing their own thing, and they're like, you know, fuck everybody else. And I'm like, those are the motherfuckers I want to find. I don't want to find the keyboard warriors. I don't want to find the entitled. I don't want to find the, you know, self-righteous and all that. I want to find the motherfuckers that are like, I don't give a fuck about none of you motherfuckers. Those are the ones I need to find. That's the ones I like to reach out to. But then again, I don't exclude anybody. Right. If you want to be self-entitled, if you think the world owes you everything, we can have a conversation. But guess what? I don't owe you a motherfucking thing.
That's it.
Sorry. Nobody owed me shit. I went out and took mine.
Hey, I have a question for you.
I took it. 5
seconds?
No, 5. That's always my answer is for everything. People say, 5. Well, go ahead. Go ahead.
Do you think that, you know, when women sometimes they have like a menopause baby or something, like they're in their late 40s or they have a child older in life, do you think that affects how the child is raised for their generation? Do you think they're going to be raised?
That's exactly what I'm talking about.
Yeah.
That's exactly what I'm talking about. I think the 50-year-olds or 50-year-old males with the 40-year-old woman were having kids the same time the 20-year-olds were having kids, and they raised their kids to be self-entitled.
Right.
The world owes them everything. You know, they're gods and kings and queens and all that shit. You know, I think they were raising them to be that way. But for some reason, I think the Gen X people were raising their kids a little bit differently. And because I've always heard the term, well, not anymore, but helicopter parenting. And I think a lot of that came from the boomer generation, raising millennials, because, you know, you can't go outside to play. You got to sit here and do schoolwork. You got to learn this craft. You got to learn this, you know, musical instrument. You got to do dance. You got to do this club, this society. You got to be involved in these things. You got to be. So I think that there are two groups of millennials. And the ones that are not giving a fuck right now, I need to find them because they're not on TikTok. They're not on Facebook. They're not on Instagram. They're not in social media. So I need to find out where these motherfuckers are because I'm pretty sure they're out there because I know I raise my kids and I'm like, if I raise my kids this way and I've got 30 friends like me that raise their kids like that, I'm like, where did they go?
Right?
Where did they end up?
Right?
So I'm pretty sure that there's actually two groups of millennials. So that's why you never hear me say about millennials being lazy and selfish and this and that. I think there's two groups.
I agree. Now that you explain that more thorough, I agree.
But at the same time, they called us lazy. They called us slackers.
Yes.
Gen
You're
X
never going to amount to nothing.
But I'm saying, how am I slacking, dude? Okay, like you said, now getting a job. My wife said the same thing. When she was 15, 16, she had to have a job.
Yep.
I just wanted money. I was a hustler. I was a street kid. I just need to have money. So it wasn't about working. It was about, but
slinging.
Hustling is a job.
Yeah.
Well, yeah. It wasn't just slinging. It was obtaining goods and services to make money with or gaining money, through Bible camp activities, social club activities, So but hustling is a job. But yeah. I mean, it wasn't, we have tax write-off. We had no W-2s and shit like that. But we had to work for that shit. I mean, we just couldn't sit at home and like, money gonna come to us. Money, no, we got to go get it. Even if we did it by legal means, we had to obtain these things
allegedly
by going. Yeah,
allegedly.
No, I'm a fucking criminal. I'm the only person in this world that's guilty of what I've done, but I'm also very apologetic for what I do because I made people victims. So, but at the same time, yeah, allegedly, but we didn't wait for shit to come to us. We had to go get it.
Right.
We had to go get it. Now, even if we earned it by slanging or robbing or stealing, whatever, we had to go get it. And so we actually were not slacking. We were doing shit. Now, we weren't going to get mainstream jobs and, working 9 to 5 and everything, but we were still hustling. That's still work, man. We put in the work, man. So they called us slackers. And I'm like, motherfucker, listen here. Just because we're not doing what you do don't mean we're not slacking. We're just trying to find the best way for ourselves.
Entrepreneurs. You guys were entrepreneurs.
That's what I keep hearing from all these videos. I'm like, but then again, we did start up. We knew how to organize.
Right.
If you will. We knew how to organize, but at the same time, nowadays, there are people that they're growing up. The millennials and the Z generation are growing up. And I'm letting you know right now, I'm being 100% honest from the bottom of my heart. They're going to forget about y'all. They're going to leave you out. You're going to be the next outcast.
Yeah.
Y'all come find Reverend Friday. I got y'all, baby. I got y'all. But you got to stop with the bullshit about the world owes you. The world don't owe you shit.
Nope.
Get yours. Get your money, boo-boo. Make your spot. Make your spot. But when you when you hit that 30 mark, they're going to forget about you. I got you. Come on. All right. Jenny, you got any other folks we got out here?
I'm good.
Yes, you are. She's awesome. She come up with some great ideas and man, it's amazing. But yeah, everybody out there and the Soup Nation. Soup Nation. No soup for you. Yeah.
No soup for you.
Oh, you motherfucking lovely soup nuts, man. We appreciate y'all. We love y'all. We're going to get out of here. We're going to holler at y'all. Be on the lookout for that Urban fucking Dictionary game show because that's going to be fucking amazing.
Yes, it is.
Y'all.
Peace.